This first group comprises the imposters of the muscle car world. These are vehicles that may possess the requisite two doors and aggressive styling cues, but fundamentally lack the one element that defines the genre: muscle. They were often the entry-level, budget-oriented versions of legendary nameplates designed to capitalize on a famous name without delivering the performance associated with it. For new enthusiasts, these cars represent a significant pitfall known as the base model trap. 1967 Buick Grand Sport 340. The 1967 Buick GS 340 is a prime example of a parts orphan. It was a one-year-only model featuring a small displacement 340 Ci V8 that produced 260 horsepower. It was created as a lower-cost entry into the Grand Sport line, but was overshadowed by the more powerful and desirable GS 400. Its design was understated, lacking the muscular stance of its peers. The critical issue for owners in 2025 is parts availability. The 340 was a unique engine, not sharing many components with other Buick V8s. Finding internal components or even basic rebuild kits like pistons and bearings is a major challenge for restorers, often requiring custom fabrication. Its value is low, reflecting its undesirable status as a forgotten middle child between the common Skylark and the mighty GS 400. Hagerty does not list the GS 340 specifically, but related 1967 Skylarks are valued low, and even the much more desirable Riviera GS is valued at only around $24,600. A running example might be a decent cruiser, but if the engine ever requires a major rebuild, the owner faces a bill that will dwarf the car's value, making it a money pit in waiting. 1969 Dodge Charger 500. This is a controversial but crucial inclusion. A correct, numbers-matching Hemi Charger 500 is a six-figure collector's item, and far from worthless. However, a cheap Charger 500 project is one of the worst investments in the entire muscle car hobby. The unique, hand-modified parts that make the car special are also what make it a financial black hole to restore. The Charger 500 was a limited production homologation special built for NASCAR, featuring a flush-mounted cornet grille and a unique flush rear window plug to improve aerodynamics on the super speedways. Only 392 were produced for street use. These unique aero parts are virtually unobtainable today. A project car that is missing its specific grille or rear window plug is essentially just a modified Charger RT, and the cost to fabricate and correctly install these parts is astronomical. A bargain Charger 500 is almost certainly a trap, either a fake clone or a legitimate basket case missing its most valuable and irreplaceable components. This is a car for experts with deep pockets only. 1965 AMC Rambler Marlin. The Rambler Marlin is a car doomed by its bizarre styling. Its design, which grafted a massive, sloping fastback roofline onto the front half of a conventional Rambler Classic, was described as highly unattractive from just about any angle, and sales were dismal as a result. While it could be optioned with AMC's respectable 270 horsepower 327 V8, its strange looks overshadowed any performance potential it may have had. As an unpopular model from a defunct brand, aftermarket support is very weak, and finding specific trim or body parts is a challenge. Its low desirability is reflected in its value. Hagerty values a 1966 Marlin at just $14,233. A full restoration, however, could easily cost 3 to 4 times that amount, with no hope of recouping the investment. The Marlin is a quirky but ultimately ugly car that costs as much to restore as a beautiful one, making it a guaranteed way to lose money. 1962 Dodge Dart. The 1962 Dodge Dart is another car cursed by bizarre styling and its orphan status within the Mopar family. It was a downsized, radically redesigned model that was met with confusion and derision from the public. described as a vision from a fever dream with a bizarro front end featuring quad headlamps at different heights. While it could be ordered with the legendary 413 Max Wedge V8, turning it into a formidable drag strip weapon, these versions are exceedingly rare and valuable. The vast majority sold were mundane commuters. The critical issue for restorers is that the 1962 model features a one-year-only body style. This means that trim, glass, and body panels are nearly impossible to find. Restoring one almost certainly requires a donor car, which is just as difficult to locate. With virtually no reproduction parts support and minimal collector value for non-Max Wedge cars, the 1962 Dart is a project to avoid at all costs. 1961 to 1963 Oldsmobile Jetfire. The Oldsmobile Jetfire is the poster child for the innovation penalty. As the world's first turbocharged production car, it was a technological marvel, but in practice it was an unreliable and overly complicated disaster. Its 215 CI aluminum V8 was turbocharged to produce 215 horsepower, an impressive 1 horsepower per cubic inch. The fatal flaw was the turbo system itself. To prevent engine-destroying detonation with its high 10.25:1 compression ratio, it required a fluid injection system that sprayed a mixture of distilled water and methanol, dubbed turbo rocket fluid, into the intake charge under boost. This system was notoriously complex and prone to leaks. Owners frequently forgot to refill the fluid reservoir, which would trigger a safety mechanism that severely limited engine power. Frustrated owners flooded dealerships with complaints. Unable to reliably fix the complex system, many dealers were authorized by Oldsmobile to simply remove the entire turbo setup and replace it with a conventional 4-barrel carburetor, a conversion that was offered to customers free of charge. As a result, finding a Jetfire with a complete functional turbo system today is very rare. Restoring one requires expert knowledge and custom rebuilt parts, a process that can easily cost more than the car's final value. Hagerty values a top-condition 1962 Jetfire at $47,000, but a project car is valued at only $15,000. It is a fascinating but deeply flawed piece of history, and a guaranteed path to financial ruin for the unprepared.